everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Friday, November the 8th. It's one of two stakes races carded at Aqueduct on the turf. It's race number 8. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 3 Pebbles. 3-year-old fillies going a mile on the inner. We have a field of 8 entered for turf. The 9 and the 10 are main track onlys. And Mike, the number 5, Jody's Pride, in many ways, is the key to this race. Switching to turf for the first time with some turf in her pedigree, but also returning off a lengthy layoff.
Yeah, we haven't seen her since the spring in a Grade 1 down to Keelan on the dirt. And yeah, she's the most interesting horse in the race by far because she's clearly, very talented, Dan, and she's bred for turf. I mean, this is the kind of filly anybody who follows racing in New York in particular, you're just sort of waiting for her to get to the turf, and here she is for the first time.
She has tactical speed, but I'm not sure anyone in this race is as fast early as the 7, Makanga. Let's throw up the time form US pace projector. Makanga is not only speed, she's also kind of runaway speed, and I wonder if sometimes that saps her stretch energy. She has got to learn to relax a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you. She's a super dangerous horse in here because she's just going to go right to the top in here and open a pretty lengthy lead. At least that's what she usually does, Dan. Maybe dropping back to a mile here is really going to help her because her last 3 races just went longer distances and just could not hold on at the end.
And Makanga's going to have to hold off a horse like the 6, oversubscribed, who has the fastest time form US late pace rating. Another horse trained by Chad Brown, this one dropping out of a Grade 1 at Keeneland. Let's start things off with a Brown trainee stepping up in class. That's the number 1, Dia Matrona, who grinded it out at Saratoga last time out, going a mile and a 16th. This is only a $50,000 starter allowance, Mike, so I think it's a good sign that after this win and only 2 starts away from Chad entering this horse for 50, she's in a graded stake.
No, I agree with you. It's really to me anyway, the only interesting thing about her. I don't know, just the fact that she's here made me take a second look. I did not really love that win that we just watched there, but she did get the job done. 2 starts back. She was on the class drop after a short layoff. The horse that won the race was her stablemate, also trained by Chad Brown. She was on the class drop. And they just both sort of hooked up and dueled, and the other Chad was better than this one. I don't know, man. I couldn't make a case for her, but it's interesting that she's here.
Another horse stepping up into the stakes ranks is the number 2, No Mo Candy. Very lightly raced, only 3 starts to her name, but she's coming into this race off a 2-race win streak, including a gate-to-wire effort last time out, going a mile and 3/16. No Mo Candy was able to make the lead under Eric Cancel in this race. Faces a strong challenge in upper stretch, and it looks like she's in trouble at 10-1, but she comes right back, and the runner-up from this race returns to win a first-level allowance with an 84 buyer. Cuts back in distance, seems tactical enough to rate.
Yeah, I think so too. When you go watch the full replay of this one, you'll see Eric Cancel, either he was told or he had designs on being on the lead in this race. He rode this filly right from the gate to make sure that she made the front. And then once she did, he kind of got control of that pace, Dan. She took on a challenge in the stretch. She had enough left to hold on. I think she has to improve off of that to beat this field.
See You Around is the number 3. This is a European import making her first start for trainer Christophe Clement after earning a Group 3 placing at Deauville over the summer. I thought she ran well in that race. She showed some tactical speed, sat in the second flight, eased to the outside, grinded her way up to finish 3rd. The winner of that race, Soprano's a good horse. She came back to run 3rd in the Group 1 in Ireland, then ran 3rd in the Queen Elizabeth II at Keeneland before contesting one of the Breeders' Cup races last year. She fits from a class perspective.
She probably does. I can't argue with the placement. I just, kind of wish I liked some of her races over in France a little bit more. I hear you. The competition, maybe it's just, way tougher. I wasn't, blown away by any of her last 3 performances over there on the turf.
I'm a big fan of the 4 whiskey decision, especially after that first level allowance win at Churchill Downs. I just thought she was super that day, making a big 4-wide sweeping bid on the turn and then getting away from that field. They found a great spot for her in a little stakes race at Delaware after that. She won that race easily, and I think you can make excuses for her last 2. In the Del Mar Oaks, I was very surprised how aggressive they were with her early, and I'm not sure that's her correct running style. With a horse like Makanga in this race, she will revert to rating, and last time out in the Winter Memories, that trip didn't work out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, listen, I liked her first 2 turf races quite a bit. I don't know, the Del Mar Oaks, when you watch it back, I don't know why she wouldn't settle in that race, but she wouldn't. And she just sort of pulled her way up to the lead. I think she paid the price there. Junior Alvarado strongly rated her from the start last time and took her back. She wound up last at the top of the stretch. I don't know. I don't love her last two races, but I really did like the first two turf starts, and I think there's something there with her. And just having Makenga in this race, you know that she's going, and that'll sort of maybe spread this field out a little bit, and maybe it gives Whiskey Decision just a chance to settle and then make that run that she made in those first two turf starts.
And the Winner Memories has already produced two next out winners, with the fourth place finisher taking a grade 2 at Keeneland with an 88 buyer. Jody's Pride is up next. She showed a lot of ability, obviously, as a 2-year-old, finishing second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. She hasn't been seen since the Ashland, so she must deal with a layoff. She has turf pedigree. American Pharaoh, 11% with first-time turf runners, but known as an excellent turf stallion. The dam went 2 for 2 on the turf. There's just a lot to like about Jody's Pride from a class standpoint. I'm just not sure about the price and the layoff.
Yeah, you're probably going to be asked to take a pretty short price here. We'll see how they wind up betting the race. But again, this is the kind of filly you've been waiting to get to the turf. And of course, you can just go back and look at her first two starts. And they're both wins on dirt, but she was entered for turf both times, got rained off, ran so well that they kept her there. And of course, you know, she made that look like a really good decision. Her last running line looks bad, but she had an impossible trip in the Ashland and didn't run as poorly as it looks. I don't know. You know, the layoff is a concern. She has been entered a couple times already, Dan. Races getting rained off. So I'm assuming that she's ready to go here.
The Timeform believes that the 6 oversubscribed is the best closer in the race. I won't make too strong an argument against. The last time she raced a mile at Aqueduct on the inner, she was a winner from off the pace in the Wild Applause, a race that featured a very fast pace. She might get another situation here that was very similar. She ran well in the Lake George at Saratoga last 2 starts back. Last time out in the QE2, she's in against She Feels Pretty, who's very, very good. And B, she was on a hard chase throughout. I just don't think those tactics are her cup of tea.
I think that's right. She didn't run well last time, but there are ways to mitigate that performance for sure. I really liked her Lake George, and I think she was badly compromised by her trip in that race when she won the Wild Applause to back. Listen, she had a great setup there. Makenga just got hooked on a really fast duel in that Wild Applause, and so Oversubscribed took advantage that day, but she also ran really well. And then the start prior to that, when Makenga beat her, I thought Oversubscribed ran the best race that day without a great trip. In some ways, I think she's the horse to beat. Yeah.
Let's watch Makenga's most recent start. This is the grade 2 Sands Point, going a mile and an eighth, and Makenga, as Makenga does, ran off to a big early lead. She was 7 clear down the backstretch, but she had to go 46 and 3 to the half to do so. She still has the lead coming down to mid-stretch, and right here you're thinking she has a chance to pull off a gate-to-wire gambit, and she's just going to get tired in the very final strides, finishing second with an 88 buyer speed figure. If she can just settle a little bit more, Mike, she's obviously a dangerous pace-setting threat.
She's just very dangerous today. You're right. I think cutting back probably helps her. You saw her start to drift there at the end of that 9 furlong race, and it seemed like it really cost her. The prior 2 starts against, better horses, just going distances that are too far for her. Then you get back to the Wild Applause. Yeah, she lost going the mile on the inner here, but that was a giant performance from her, dueling a wicked fast pace. She's a very dangerous horse here. I'm afraid that she's going to wire this field.
There are a lot of things to like, I think, about the number 8, Way to Be Marie, going out for trainer Rob Atras. A really nice effort over wet ground in the grade 2 Edgewood 2 starts back. A race where she chased the pace on the outside, took over in the stretch, and stayed on very gamely to finish second. Her most recent start was the Regret, and I know those fractions don't look fast. That was a closer's race. And Way to Be Marie was on the pace throughout. The 6th place finisher came back to win an allowance at Ellis with a 78. She's been freshened for this race, and I think she can sit a good tracking trip.
I like that Atras gave her a little time. Her turf form leading up to that last one was really, really good. Her Edgewood was a very good performance. She was only second best in there, but that was a really good performance. I didn't think she ran as well last time. I hear what you're saying about the pace. The horse that was attending the pace with her was the 3rd place finisher, who was like 30 to 1 in there. It was still around for 3rd, and this horse just got very tired through the stretch. But I like that Atras has given her time.
The rest of the field are entered main track only. Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time, grade 3 Pebbles Whiskey Decision. You can make excuses for her last 2 races. I thought she showed a tremendous amount of promise for a very good trainer in Arnaud Delacour, and should be a fair price.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I thought that she would be a fair price this time. That's why I'm going to take her on top. And again, I like the fact that she has Makenga in here, maybe to sort of spread this field out a little bit and get her to settle. Very interested to see what we get from Jody's Pride, Dan. I put her second.
I just can't take her if she's going to be a short price in here. These kind of horses, even with those pedigrees, are just not really a great plays for me, switching surfaces for the first time. I readily admit from a class standpoint she can win. I'm hoping the turn back in distance is the key for Makanga, and maybe she can just relax a little bit more early and sprint on home because her speed obviously makes her dangerous. 4-5-6-7 for Mike, 7-6-3-4 for me. Good edition of the Grade 3 Pebbles. It's our Friday DRF race of the day, the 8th at the Big A. Best of luck. Hey buddy, you look like you're in need of a winner, and just remember, if you like and subscribe right over here, you can get all of the great content on DRF.com, including Race of the Day, stakes previews, and lots more, featuring me and my superb selections. Trust me, you're not going to regret it.